quorum. I'll call the meeting to order. There's a quorum present in person. So I guess we want, should we go ahead and have Director McNaughton approved, or should we wait till he's in?
Wait, yeah,
All right.
yeah, when it happens in the board, wait.
We'll wait. All right, then matters from the public. Anyone?
There are none.
No one from the public. So the first item, or the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the July 16th and August 20th meetings. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes? So moved. Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. All right. The minutes are approved. The no financial report, we actually had a meeting a couple weeks ago with the finance department and I don't remember who else. Lots of people. I was remote at that meeting, so I don't remember who was there, but we were making some progress on the financial report. And since Andy wasn't going to be here, there were people we have things that we hold off. So you can all wait with bated breath until the October meeting to see brand new financial statements. Either of our people we
have Ms. Lapista Curley.
all right. We don't have to. I don't think we have to approve her remote attendance.
We do have,
She's not a director, not
Yeah.
voting, not part of.
All right.
the board.
we do have Director McNaughton in the lead now.
I'm looking.
Okay, all right. So, we need to ask him the question first, or do we vote?
I think he's requested to participate remotely for medical reasons.
All right.
Was my understanding.
I move that he be allowed to participate remotely, for medical reasons. Is there a second? Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. So we will go to new business. So who was going to do our introduction?
I will, I should
Oh, and actually, before you do that, congratulations to our correct.
No, I not like sign off.
So we are very pleased to have Nikki Hastings and Shannon Holland join us. Nikki's with the Siegel Bio, Dr. Hastings, the Siegel Bio Hub, and Shannon Holland is the director of the Go Virginia Region 9 partnership. And they'll be talking today about the Bio Bridge, developing talent to tomorrow's breakthroughs. This is a grant match opportunity for the Economic Development Authority to consider today for a Go Virginia Talent Pathways Initiative grant that Siegel Bio Hub is spearheading, and spearheading on behalf of a lot of partners. So it is not Siegel Bio Hub alone, but working with a lot of the right stakeholders to advance this work. So I will let them take over their presentation, but just wanted to thank them for coming and for the opportunity to work.
Thank you so much. Great to be here and be back. I'll give a little bit of an update on our Lab Accelerator work, but first, Shannon, maybe give the big perspective on what the TPI grants are for Virginia. I'm not sure if this is advanced. This is fine. No, almost there. Okay.
We're still doing this.
But,
Yeah, in the meantime, Talent Pathways is a separate tranche of funding through Go Virginia, established about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Originally by the governor, where he had some larger ideas around these talent pathways that follow on funding. That's morphed a little bit because it's gone through a budget process. General. That said, this is $250,000 available to create a planning grant around priority talent needs in our region. So the Go Virginia Region 9 Council identified 3 target sectors that they saw as a priority. Biotech is one of them. And I've been working with partners over the past 2.5 years to find the right one to take the lead in the application. And, at the very last opportunity, we're pulling it off with Siegel Bio Hub taking the lead with, as Emily mentioned, many amazing partners. And it aligns really well with this initiative that you all have supported with the accelerator and the single bio hub expansion. So I'm very excited to be here supporting.
Yeah, part of why this came back to us a year ago, we were engaged with UVA Economic Development, hearing about this opportunity. And in a conversation with Emily and PBCC, we just continue to hear the need for understanding the talent needs and the growth potential, especially with the Manning Institute of Biotechnology coming online. What do we need to be preparing our workforce for now so that we can serve the growth that's anticipated as a result of the things that are happening, the accelerator being a part, just a small part in that work. But at the time, we weren't prepared to go after that as we felt the accelerator was our more near-term priority. This opportunity has since presented itself, and we said, this is really important work. And we were hearing that from all the stakeholders that we've been talking to, and really being kind of an unbiased party in this project is why we are taking the lead on it. But we are partnering, as I mentioned, I'll mention who the partners are and how we plan to work to accomplish the goals. So you're all familiar with our organization, and thank you for all the support you've offered us over the many years. So this is a workforce development opportunity. We do think we're thinking about talent that can support life sciences initiatives, and this is talent that would be floating through opportunities from private sector to research opportunities and back to private sector. So we're not just serving the economic growth, but we're serving the needs that are going to be evolving at the research levels of the university, serving private sector, and to continue to have a workforce that can be versatile enough to be serving in both capacities is really a great opportunity and a significant need. We're hearing from the Manning Institute folks that they have not prepared for training the staff needed to support the researchers who are coming into that are being recruited. And so they're saying, where is that talent coming from? And that's where some of these conversations with UVA Economic Development started. But we're also saying there's such an opportunity for private sector growth. Companies like Bonumos and Ravenna Medical and AgriSpheres have all been growing here, and the talent recruitment effort is one of their challenges. So we want to continue to serve that and be able to meet those needs. So what we're planning to do is work with a consulting firm. Economy Partners is very well versed in the biotech space. They partner with Bio International, and they are actually one of the groups that put together a very early report on this region, understanding the needs and opportunities for biotech. So we went back to them. We surveyed 3 potential consultants. They were the ones that came in with reasonable costs, knowledge in the space, and a strong, clear plan of timeline and execution opportunity to come up with a 3 to 5 year strategic plan. We'll get a region-wide asset map. We'll be looking at the skills and training needed for the sector, which they have much experience in. They have a database that we will have full access to, understanding skills, talent, and salaries from this sector at a nationwide level that will gain ability to query. They'll run a gap analysis and quantitative, qualitative situational analysis as well. So it's a comprehensive 1-year project. We will partner with them, and we've also identified some support from Central Virginia Partnerships for Economic Development and Katie Delaney, who would support us on the operations, planning, organizing, ensuring facilitation of the meetings with economy, and SIBO BioHub bringing the stakeholders from private industry and all of our connections together. So it's really leveraging the strengths of all of our 3 groups to execute on this project. Go Virginia being the funding component for this. So I'm not really in favor of hiring a consultant to put together a great report unless there's an opportunity to execute on that work. And that's what I'm excited about and why I said yes to lead this project, because there is some follow-on funding to provide implementation and support. So we want to see some real impact from this. We are pulling together an advisory coalition, which will ensure forming goals, that we meet these objectives, that we're connecting with the leaders and the stakeholders required, that we will be able to provide feedback on the findings so that it's not biased to what we think. Also, is that we're getting some unbiased perspective here, but that we can provide some feedback and ensure that the execution plan is something we could actually implement. And then ultimately to have all of the coalition be the champions to make sure that we can bring some ideas forward. I did just get off the phone this afternoon with Alan Yost. He's very excited about this opportunity to connect Albemarle and to the north. So he's, very much a champion already. The city is very motivated by this as well. They're willing to put in 25,000 in matching funds. And we have in-kind contributions and committed support from those that have stars next to their names. We're still collecting some of the support commitments to the advisory coalition that we have until October 10th. The 15th, okay, in 5 more days. So, but I think this is a really great opportunity for our region to really bring more connectivity to the counties surrounding Albemarle and Charlottesville, where the sector has really been focused in the efforts with SIBO BioHub and PBA, and most of the sector is active here, but there's opportunity for growth outside. And so I think also thinking about it from a talent development perspective brings in some new interests and commitments. Are there any questions?
Do we have any sense how many of these people are needed in all the, the management center, and all the projects we know about? How many of those people are already here?
Yeah.
Like, in other words, I know you don't have numbers, so I'm just curious about how many of these people are gonna have to come from the outside.
Well, if we think about the numbers of what Manning is working towards, just as a standalone example, it's 120 PIs, private investigators, who are leading labs, which means they still need support staff, which may come in the form of graduate students and undergrad researchers, but they also need generalist lab staff, lab specialists. So if you at minimum say 3 per lab, these people generally won't relocate with the PIs. Sometimes they will, but that gives a ballpark number of significant gap in what we have available. We had a company here fold earlier this year that was 50 employees. Many of them wanted to stay here, and they did not find all of those opportunities available to them. So, but that's a rare experience. So, I think we're on the order of 1,000 potentially in the next 3 to 5 years. The sector itself in labor force that we've collected data on is somewhere between 2,000 to 2,500. So we're talking about a tripling of the current workforce,
Does PDCC currently have programs?
So
training these? Because that was one of the things that occurred to me outside.
Yeah, it's great. And they're really interested in they've already got ideas around how the strategic plan could be moving, what details could be in there. That's our first conversation was, well, we need to do this and we can do this. And we said, well, this will be the meeting where you can have those conversations. But there was a biotech training certificate that was brought forth, I think in the early 2000s. And they found that the workforce, there was a disconnect between the training that was being done and the labor opportunities that those students were then eligible for. I think we have a lot more connectivity in our region than that time was bringing those students forward into opportunities, where now, this is some of the work that SIBO BioHub is doing. We've got job boards, and we've got the people you can connect with to find those opportunities. So they're really excited. I think the types of jobs that we're also seeing, some are on the manufacturing side. Afton Scientific is growing. They're going to need that kind of talent that's coming out of 2-year certificate programs. So they hire significantly from this. And so they're going to want to see that continue. And this can help to bring that.
Great.
I would just add to these types of opportunities, this workforce planning type work is really enabling the folks who live in the community today to be ready for these jobs. So we're in a really nice position in that a Manning Institute doesn't come all the time. You don't always know that you're going to have a major employer emerge. And we have the opportunity of time to develop the workforce. And again, as Nikki indicated, these are a range of jobs, but a lot of them are licensure certificate type jobs. And so we have an opportunity to make sure that our community members are in a position to be successful in getting these jobs.
And to piggyback that comment, we hear often from existing businesses in our community that that anticipate a growth or an expansion and are concerned about the ability to meet those workforce needs based on the workforce pool that we have locally. So these are real challenges and real critical moments where companies may have to consider opening up an office in another location in order to accommodate that workforce growth that they require. So it's an important thing to consider locally.
We're also hearing a little bit around opportunities for retraining for career switchers who might want to do something within UVA's professional development work and continuing education programs as well. So that there was interest in what we're doing.
Yeah, I just wanted to take an opportunity to make a connection. My professional life is mostly in Boston, but there's this big gap. We're desperate for automotive technicians, and there are people who want to be automotive technicians, and the difficulty is that we cannot make the commitment to train them to the level we need them because we can't guarantee that they'll stay with us. So we have an apprentice program, but we can't just open up a school ourselves because our ability to retain them is just, we can't keep enough of them to make the math work. And I'm just thinking the analogy for this is that we're all sitting in this room working so hard to create the conditions where businesses can open, relocate, hire these people, but we've got a really big challenge ahead of us to make sure that those people that want those jobs and that the companies want to hire are ready to meet. In other words, they have the skills. And I don't think that's anyone's responsibility in this room, but I just want to get it into the zeitgeist of conversation for future meetings, that to the extent that we can support the ability of local educational institutions to align what they're teaching, as you were talking about, Dr. Hastings, with what the employers need, then we'll kind of connect those dots and not run into these gaps where you were talking. So anyway, I just want to put it out there, not for any other reason, just to get it on the agenda of people's thinking. Thank you.
I think that's a pathway approach. It's you starting to get K-12 on there, so you start thinking about what you need to do with people in high school in order to get them interested, and then that's how you feed that pipeline. And so that's why this initiative is so important. It's sort of systemically looking at it, but getting everybody who has the infrastructure to line up around what you're saying. What are the business needs?
Sure.
That's the plan.
That's the goal. The goal. Okay, so it's a $250,000 opportunity. It's a 12-month project. The application the proposal from Teconomy shows us completing the work in 10 months, gives us a little bit of buffer for a great post analysis session to bring all the stakeholders together to talk about those next steps. PVCC has offered their new space to host that event. And if we put our request out here today, ideally 25,000 would go a long way towards the match requirement. The city is interested in matching that commitment from if the county is on board. PVCC is offering $12K in kind. Sarah Morton with Workforce Career, Virginia Career Works, she's somebody new that I've just met through this initiative, said absolutely want to be involved, I'm committed, and puts her in kind support. We've had Alan Yost commit 5K in kind to economy. I mentioned the access to software. The coalition partners are all part of a collective that in kind support. UVA, and even JMU has a very strong biotech training program. And interesting in speaking with them last week, their students are coming out looking for jobs right away and they want to stay in Virginia, which is not always the case with UVA students. And so that's a great pipeline. They want to come to Charlottesville for jobs, and I've hired several of them through my own career. So I know that they are a strong workforce pool to be looking at as part of this initiative. So not in our region, but
Yeah.
it is another opportunity. So, so we put our ask out there. We love your support. This does align with the bigger vision of our accelerator project that we're working on, and really supports the bigger opportunities that SIBO BioHub as an organization has. Why I think we're interested in committing to this and showing both our depth in serving early stage companies, but our breadth in understanding what's going on more broadly in our ecosystem. So here's our support request. Letter of interest is due tomorrow. No pressure. Application is due October 15th. We have a letter, a drafted letter that was circulated, and the award, I think you said was December 10th. So early December timeframe, we would know, and we would try to kick this off early January 2025. We can talk about that, and then I would love to just touch on this project very briefly if there's time.
So there are questions about the request. My question is, can we approve that ourselves? Do we have to get board approval to, or do we have the money that we can? We think this is a good idea, we can.
We,
I was looking at Reggie.
we,
Get a bucket some.
I believe we have the authority to approve support. As far as the financial side of it goes, if there's any appropriation that's required, we can do that on the.
Okay, all right.
At this point,
But
it's
it's a matching
the,
grant.
it's the letter of interest.
Right.
Okay.
And, we have the mechanism to get that.
All right.
all.
Okay. All right. So any questions or comments? Any further discussion? Is there a motion regarding the letter of support?
I move that we send a letter of support with board approval.
That's second.
All right, I have a couple of little tweaks. Like typo, not typo, wording choice things that I will suggest. But beyond that.
Wait, you mean the lawyers have been?
The lawyer just.
No. I'm not saying just you.
Oh.
Saying those of us with that training.
All right,
I
so
make the motion to authorize the chair.
in substantially the form presented.
Substantially.
Subject to any edits.
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
Good luck with these minutes transcription. Steve is online, yes.
Steve, was
I
that a
said
yes?
aye.
Yeah,
That was a yes.
all right. Okay, great. All right, so now the update
Oh,
on.
yes. I had hoped to have updates for you in early June, but we have, at the state board meeting, there were some requests to see additional collaboration support through a memorandum of understanding with Virginia Innovation Partnership Corporation, VEDP, and Virginia Catalyst, all who are supporting this sector in other ways. And our collaborators, we are very excited to have. It's taken us quite a while to get through this process unexpectedly, but SIBO BioHub has continued to push forward. We've been working with UVA on our agreements with them, including the lease agreement, getting everybody on board. They're very excited about this project, especially as they learn more about really what it is and bringing these early stage companies into this space. I spoke today with the UVA Vice President for Research, who has a very long-term, bigger vision beyond university walls for economic development and growth locally. So I think she will become a really exciting partner in the long term of this project. And we've been touring companies. We have equipment on the second floor waiting to be installed. You may know of a county company, Seal Bio. They unfortunately folded due to funding. It's a tough market right now in the biotech sector, but we spoke with them and they said they wanted to keep all their equipment locally and that this would be a good transition for the equipment. So we worked out a deal there and it's ready to plug in. So that actually saved us about 5 months of time in getting purchasing, lead times, orders and everything. So once we get this signed, very soon, right, Shannon? Shannon's been, we've been through it. We've been
Doing the things
Yeah.
to
But-
advance this project.
We're gonna be announcing.
It's approved.
The project is approved. We'll be launching in early 2025. We invite you all to join us at the launch party, which will be a lot of fun. And hopefully we'll have a few companies there by then. So thank you for your continued patience and we look forward to coming back when we have all the docs
Yes.
signed up.
All right, congratulations.
Thanks. Thank you for your time today. Appreciate the support very much.
All right, so next on the agenda is the development grant agreement with Home
The walk demonstration. Okay, so thank you all. You've been briefed on the, most of you have been briefed on the Home Depot project at previous meetings in closed session. We were excited to have the board announcement a couple weeks ago of the Home Depot being the first private sector redevelopment at the Fashion Square Mall property. If you've been driven by there recently, the Sears is no more. And they are making really quick work of the demolition and the brownfield remediation that is required before they can do any vertical development out there. This is the final part of the process. So the board agreed to support the development agreement, and the Economic Development Authority is also a party to that agreement. So this is being presented to you all for consideration to adopt the resolution approving the development grant agreement. And then we would continue to sort of proceed on with the terms of that performance agreement.
Can I leave I'm not gonna discuss, I'm accused from discussing, can I leave the meeting or should I let the vice chair?
I think, it's probably best to have.
All right,
Just kind of leave the discussion. I just want to be clear, I understand you, are disqualified or recused yourself, and I do
Yes.
have a note. Director Storm, I think is on the leftover, you're not disqualified.
no,
Not this project.
So are there any questions or comments about the motion that is coming up next? Directors, staff? Supervisor B, do you have any comments or questions?
I'm unmuting because it was a difficult time getting onto this meeting, but no, I don't have any concerns about this. We fully support this.
Okay, and Steve, do you have any comments?
I do not. I'm on board.
Okay. So does someone want to make a motion?
I move that the Albemarle County Economic Development Authority adopt a resolution approving a development grant agreement among the County of Albemarle, Virginia, the Economic Development Authority of Albemarle County, Virginia, and Home Depot USA Incorporated.
Second,
Second.
and all in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays? Measure passes. All right. Next job, Vice Chair.
all right, so next is the staff report. Molly?
Thank you. I've got a couple slides to share, and a couple of office updates. So some staffing changes. We have added, Jeanette Hart.
Hey,
Joining
Jeanette.
us. Jeanette is a project manager, an amazing project manager. I have never felt so organized in my entire life. And she's working part-time on really focused just on the Urbana Futures project. So that project has several lines of effort that cross 6 or 7 different departments in the county. We work together all the time, so that in itself is not the challenge, but there's a lot of moving parts to this project. And behind every person on our team is another team of folks working to advance engineering work, property management responsibilities that we have as part of the land acquisition of Urbana Futures, partnership development and engagement work that we're working really hard to do another line of effort, which is grants to secure some state and federal funding to help support site readiness out there. So having someone at the helm who can help, I said to Jeanette, I have trouble seeing the forest when there are so many trees, and she's helping to make sure that we can keep that eye on the big picture, which is really, really incredibly helpful. Brewery Vaughn has been working with the county for a little over a year. But he is helping to provide some backup support for our office while the intern that we're going to hire in 2040, Hayden Newberry, is ready to join us.
I'm sorry.
So Brewery will be helping primarily to support the economic development strategic plan process that we are a little behind in. But we'll be kicking off in earnest this fall, and also some general research support that we need. On the economic development strategic plan, we did a request for quotes process, and we were delighted and a little overwhelmed to receive 15 submissions to that. Normally that's more like 4 to 6, and so. That's great. That's great for the county because competition leads us to be able to get a better product at a better price. But it's been a lot to go through. And so we're a little bit behind because we've been working through that review process, which is just taking a little bit longer. And then we are also working behind the scenes staff has put together a first draft of the MOU term sheet that we talked about at the joint meeting with board supervisors. My first gut check is to send that to Chair Long. And so once we've had some time with that, we'll share it with the full EDA. My hope is that we'll spend some time at a future meeting, whether that be October or November, to really work through what is the EDA's, what is a term sheet that is from the EDA to the board of supervisors. And then we have requested time on a board agenda in December to have a work session with the board of supervisors. My expectation is that Chair Long would work with me to sort of have that work session with the board so that we can get feedback on the term sheet that would be sort of representative of the EDA. So that's sort of the rough timeline of what we're working towards. And then once that term sheet is fully developed, that's when staff in the attorney's office would work to develop a red line version of the MOU that we would then work through the EDA and the board, hopefully to get to a finished agreement not too far into 2025. Any questions on that? Just a couple of events that we were excited to participate in. I've got some pictures here from the St. Louis trip. So in the context of Urbana Futures, we had talked about Urbana Station and the opportunity to purchase the land and maybe grow the mission of the current Urbana Station, being a similar opportunity to what has happened in St. Louis with the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency's headquarters. About 10 years ago, they announced that they were going to leave the city of St. Louis. Their building from the 1850s and did not have any good security to it. It didn't have parking and it just had some challenges. It's a very old building. And they had announced they were going to leave St. Louis. The city of St. Louis said, we are going to fight to keep you here. And a lot of government, all levels of government and private sector and civic sector organizations came together to put together a really great deal that enabled the NGA to stay in St. Louis. And so Jeff Richardson, the county executive, Trevor Henry, the deputy county executive, and I went out to St. Louis in August to learn more about how they were able to do all that. And it was really incredible to just see how everyone is really working together to speak into being that St. Louis is the geospatial hub of the world. And so it's not just about that one employer, that one site project, but really building an ecosystem and leveraging all the opportunities in the geospatial space for the good of the community. There's been a lot of spin-off entrepreneurial activity as a result of the work that they've been doing. They have a big workforce component, workforce training component, where they're trying to really open opportunity to as many people in St. Louis as possible to be ready to take those jobs that are continuing to grow in the geospatial space in St. Louis. And it was just a really inspiring couple of days. We very much are hoping to lead a trip out with a lot of folks from here out to St. Louis in 2025, so that we can sort of share the love more broadly and help inspire folks a little bit differently. Just real quick, a couple of the things that we have on here. In the middle, I have a map. That map is really cool looking in person, and I'm realizing it's not as cool looking on PowerPoint. But it shows the region of what comprises Greater St. Louis, the St. Louis metro area. And it's 15 counties, one city, St. Louis. The 15 counties cross a state line, so it's 2 states. So the level of collaboration to make that work is just incredible. And Greater St. Louis Inc. is a chamber-like organization that does a lot of economic development work on behalf of their partnership. The UMSL, the University of Missouri at St. Louis, has launched a really great workforce training program at their university. They're working on getting geography incorporated into the gen ed requirements for all university students, so that everyone at their university has exposure to geo and an opportunity to apply geographic thinking to any career path that they may find themselves in, which is really incredible. BioSTL, if anyone's attending the bio event tomorrow,
Thursday.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you talk.
Okay, yeah, it's so funny, so Emily, you texted me or something and said, I'm in BioFTL. That's the model that Siebel BioHub has looked at for a lot of the growth opportunities because it's a nonprofit. And obviously looking at their labs there, you can just see the growth and activity. They have significant investment into their efforts, but we've connected with the Senior Vice President, Ben Johnson, and asked him to come speak on our panel at our Biodiscovery Summit on Thursday. So but there is some really exciting kind of opportunities for us to continue this collaboration with St. Louis through the biotech sector as well.
And I don't remember how many companies are working in that BioSTL space. We're in a conference room looking down over the wet lab space. But that is several different companies working in the same location. And the building has space for companies to grow into once they get off the floor. And then it's in a section, a neighborhood of St. Louis that also is oriented around biotech. And so the idea is you incubate on the floor, you can move up to get your first small office, and then that hopefully is putting you in a good position to continue to accommodate your growth trajectory all in this one neighborhood. And then the Globe building is a private office building that has invested in infrastructure, so redundant power, redundant broadband, in order to capture geospatial commercial uses, because they need to be connected at all times in order for their work to be successful. And so we got to see a bunch of different models of public-private partnerships and academic partnerships in action. And the other thing I wanted to mention before we move on, BEDP, the State Agency for Economic Development, hosted a knowledge sector listening session in Albemarle earlier this month. It was for our region. but it was an opportunity for private sector CEOs and other leaders to share with the state some of their challenges in recruiting and growing here in Virginia. And so they're looking at what are some of those regional challenges, what are some of those statewide challenges, and BEDP will continue to work on how they can be a better partner in solving some of those problems. And we were really excited to have them here in Albemarle and hosted at North Fork. Just a quick snapshot on the business retention and expansion efforts. We had some site visits since we've last given you a staff report. So just a snapshot of what we're doing in the office.
Who's doing that? Who would be tasked with that?
It's primarily Ashley's position, but depending on what it is and who it is, you know, we'll kind of tag in different folks. So
Everybody's invited.
yeah. Trevor, Henry, and I did one in the defense sector. It just made sense based on the projects that we're working on.
I think if it makes sense, you can certainly consider it, but seeing if members of the EDA want to,
Yeah.
if that's useful and if they want, but it might be a way to
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
increase.
Always. And if there are suggestions or in the grapevine, you know, you've heard that people want that to occur or any visits to be scheduled, that's absolutely welcome and encouraged.
Just some items from the ecosystem, so things that the county is not necessarily doing, but just to highlight some work that our partners are doing. The Defense Affairs Committee is a committee of the Chamber of Commerce, and the county and private sector partners have fundraised to support a staff position, the program manager position to advance some of the work of that committee. Many of you met Letty Bien. She was the former program manager. Andrew Sides began over the summer. He is really hitting the ground running. If you have not had a chance to interact with him yet, he's I'm really excited about what the opportunities with his work and his leadership will bring. And so that's just wanted to make sure you all were aware of that. And then the CACBB, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, adopted the Tourism Master Plan, which was the first one ever for our region. So really significant in that's work that had not been done before, and will help guide how they do resource allocation and guide some of their efforts moving forward. If you did not know about the Biodiscovery Summit, I hope you'll consider attending. And then the other item is related to the defense and intelligence sector. So the Intelligence National Security Alliance is a professional organization for folks who work in the intelligence and national security space. Their headquarters is in DC, but they will do these common threads events in hubs for intelligence and national security around the country. And they are in recognition of Urbana Futures and the work that we're doing there. They are hosting one in Charlottesville. This is really significant for us because it helps put us on the map for the intelligence and national security community. It's going to be from 5 to 8 p.m. on December 3rd at Boar's Head. There'll be a keynote and then a panel on sort of the space and then a networking opportunity at the end. It is free to attend, but you do have to register. It's really significant for us to show, it's really amazing that INSA chose Charlottesville, and we'd love to show INSA that we're worth it. And so we're hoping that folks will attend. If you are not super familiar with the intelligence and national security space, it'll be an amazing opportunity to hear what some of their priorities and challenges are. And so it's a great event, I think, for folks to sort of dip their toe into that space.
Maybe someone could send an email with that link.
Yes.
All the board members.
Yes.
Just a general comment.
Yeah. That's the report.
All right. So next on the agenda is the closed session. So I'll let somebody else. Right. The Albemarle County Economic Development Authority going to a closed meeting is authorized under Virginia Freedom of Information Act, section 2.2-3711A of the Code of Virginia under subsection 5 to discuss and consider
the expansion of an existing Albemarle County business in the Scottsville Magisterial District, south of the city of Charlottesville, where no previous announcement has been made. Its interest in expanding its facilities in Albemarle County. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, and you're recused.
I'm refused and
I'm recused.
So I will
You're recused.
request Supervisor Lepisto Kirtley and Director McNaughton, if you will close out your Zoom link and join us shortly on the Teams link that was emailed to you earlier. And let me know if you don't have that link and I'll send it to you.
I've
And
got
we'll
it.
see you in cyberspace.
Share all that.
We need a roll call for the certification.
Yeah, we need to,
Yeah.
read the certification.
Okay, I move that the EDA certify by recorded vote that to the best of each director's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and identified in the motion authorizing the closed meeting are heard, discussed, or considered in the closed meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and all in favor, oh no, this is where we go.
All right, here we go. Director McNaughton,
Aye.
Director McCullough. Aye. Director Long.
Aye.
See, and so Director Long recused himself. Also, the record did not join us in the voters meeting, obviously didn't participate in the votes. Motion carried.
All right. Any unfinished business? Other matters? Questions? All right, so then, our next meeting is October 15th. Everybody there? Okay.
All right.
We're good.
Wow.